Okay, so this is the start of making my shift. I've cut out 2 rectangle pieces. They measure 1 metre, 2 centimetres long ways. That's my height. And they are 86 centimetres wide to allow for some seam allowance. So I've cut out 2 of these, so that's the other one. Okay, so here we have the sleeve pattern. It was already made up from this mock-up earlier. We'll be making it a little bit longer, but this is the general shape. So what I've done is I've put the 2 pieces together, and this will be the seam. So this is the length going that way, and this is your width. So the length's easy because you can just follow these lines. So that's the length of me. And we just need to line this armhole up here with the fabric, and then I'm just going to cut a curve into this because this is going to be my armhole, and then I will do the same on the other side. Okay, so you can now see I've now cut my 2 armholes each side, and I'm going to run those through the overlocker as well. Okay, moving on to the sleeve pattern, and this is the sleeve we drafted. I will add a bit more on it, but I can always take it away after if it's too long, because I think it might be too short at the minute, judging by what the practice run we've already done. And what I'm going to be using is this nice shiny satin. It's ivory. It's quite a thick quality satin, it's not the thinner type, so it's a better quality. I know they had satin back then, didn't they? And overlockers as well. You can see I've overlocked all the edges. Well, to be honest, I really don't like making shifts very often, or chemises or underwear. So they're my least favourite part. So yeah, I'm just sort of trying to get through this as fast as possible. Anyway, this is the sleeve pattern. I'm going to be using it on the fabric, so I'll have nice shiny sleeves. I know it's going to look really odd, but all you'll see is the sleeves, so that's all I'm bothered about. Okay, so the first thing I have to do is, if your fabric has a good side each side, is make sure you pin good side to good side. And we're just inserting the sleeve, and I've already done the other one, so just to give you an idea, this is the neck edge, and this is the curve of half an armhole, which finishes there. That then becomes the side seam. So I've just pinned this on, and I'm just going to sew that first half of the sleeve on. Then I'll come back to the next part. Okay, so now that's the first half sewn in. Okay, so trying to keep this as simple as possible. That's the other sleeve. This is the one I've currently sewn just one side in. You then want to, so again, this is the neck edge. Find the other side of the armhole on the blue crepe stuff and line that up like so on the other side. So you can see I've got the bottom edge of my sleeve there. This is the top, and I'm just sewing it down onto the other side where it will meet the side seam. Okay, so I've just turned this inside out so you can see what I've done here. Again, this is the neck edge, the top. So one part of the sleeve there. This is the side seam in the middle. Then the other part of the sleeve has been sewn in here, like so. So then this is the top edge of your sleeve here, and here is the bottom. Okay, I hope that's clear. And the next thing to do will be joining the side seams together. Okay, so just running it over to the machine here, you can see I've got my sleeve. This is the top, this is the bottom. and I'm just sewing those together till I reach the start of the side seam here. So I'm going along the seam. This is the seam of the sleeve, and then I will just continue down. Sorry, trying to film this at the same time because my partner is away. And then I'll just continue down the side seam to the bottom of the gown. So I've just turned it the right way out now, and you can see I've more or less got some sort of garment. And these are the sleeves that I've just sewn in. Okay, so that completes that section. Okay, I've now gone ahead and Mum has gathered this while I was wearing it. She said you'd done it very rough and ready and loose, so it's just sort of pinned in place at the moment. You then took a measurement all the way around the circumference of this, so from the centre front round the sleeves to the back, all the way back to the pin. And on me it was about 1 metre, so I'm going to put this into some bias binding, which I have here, and I've cut out 1 metre 4, so an extra 4 centimetres, and make sure you cut the ends at an angle. So you just see here they've been cut purposely like that, and then I've basically just overlapped one and sewn one in that direction, and then gone underneath, make sure all these sides are flat as well, and sewn there. And now we're going to try and fit it into the band and just see if we need to make any adjustments.
Now that you've done your band and you've measured around your shoulders, Tracy's measurement is 100 centimetres. So the next step is to find out where the back is and put a pin there. And what I've done is I've worked out how this band is going to be divided up. And measuring from the first shoulder seam to the front shoulder seam to the back shoulder seam for Tracy, it's 18 centimetres. So on the shoulder here, I've marked out where 18 centimetres is, and the back is 32. So measure along the back to the next pin, which is here, and that'll be 32. So then you measure around to 18 again, and the front section is 32. These are Tracy's measurements only, yours will be different. And so for reference, when I'm doing the gathering, I've taken the middle point at the front and put a mark, and the middle point at the back and put a mark.
Okay, so we have the sleeve section here, and we've matched up the pin marks for the sleeve measurements of 18 centimetres I showed just a moment ago. And we're going to gather up this to fit the distance between that pin and that pin. And just do it one bit at a time. Okay, so now I've sewn it all the way across the edge around the whole garment. Okay, here I have the shift, and this is the sleeve, and it's currently turned inside out. And I know this isn't traditional for the century, but we tried gathering it and it didn't quite work out as tight. But we're working about 6 centimetres up from the bottom, and we put some pins and we've marked that all the way along. And we're going to be putting some shearing elastic in, which Mum is holding just there, and it stretches. Okay, and I will show you how to put it in.
Okay, we're going to do a shearing elastic in place. Machine it's just got an ordinary foot in there, and you set the width to the highest one. Machine, we want to do a zigzag, so that's number 2, so that's where, and it needs to be a long stitch, so I'm setting mine to number 4. 2, 1. I found that just using one strand of shirring elastic, it actually snapped, so I'm going to use a double piece of shirring elastic. And first of all, you need a bit of a tail, so lay that down and then lay your foot down on it so that it's in the middle of where you're going to be sewing, to go actually over the shirring elastic as you sew. There just to hold it down. Now I'm just aiming for my pins. And we'll do that all the way around. If you keep a little bit of tension on the elastic and keep it a little bit tight, it'll stop it actually snagging under there or sewing it down accidentally. Now coming towards the end here, so I'll just go backwards. That's it. Okay, with the shift on now, I've started to pull in the elastic. You don't want it so tight that it's going to cut off the circulation, but tight enough that it's not going to fall down. And then with the end of the elastic, you're going to put several really good knots in there before you actually cut the elastic off.
Okay, so we're on to the lacy cuffs that go on to the end of the shift. I've got this lace here, I've used it before. I've toned it down a bit with a bit of tea dye because it was bright white. So now it's more like an ivory colour. And I've got to do it in sections because I don't really have enough. And what I'm doing first is I'm going all the way along the bottom and I'm cutting off some of the design, as you can see here, and I've just got to here. So just very carefully with a very small pair of scissors, I'm just cutting out, so that will be my edge, and I'm doing that the entire strip that I've got here lengthways, and then I'll do the same for another 4 strips. Okay, I've got my 4 strips here of lace all cut out, and they're cut to 12 centimetre widths, which is the width of lace I've decided for the cuff. Your lace might be longer than this, you might have a good few metres long, and you can do it all in one strip, but I didn't have enough, so that's the only reason why I'm doing it like this, is I want to join each end to each end, so that I've got 2 long continuous pieces.
You can decide yourself what sort of lace that you want to have at the bottom of your sleeve and whether you want to have it pleated. Tracy wants a bit of extra lace in the finished result, so I've just been doing little small pin tucks throughout the length of the lace ready to go on. Okay, before I'm going to put this on to the sleeve, I ran a sewing line across there to keep all the pleats in, and now I'm going to attach that to the bottom of the sleeve.
putting a t-shirt on for modesty here because it's a little bit see-through. This is the finished shift now. Just do a quick show, and you can see the sleeve length as it is right now, and then when it goes inside the sleeve for the bodice, it'll be hiked up like this. So that's why I went for the shearing elastic option. It's not traditional, but it really helps. And that's the shift finished.